Ross Coldhart just dropped a brand new video with some pretty bombshell claims. If they are true, they could potentially explain why the Skywatcher group suddenly went quiet and what the US government has allegedly been doing with its own UAP shoot down and capture program. Take a listen to this.
Defence sources tell me that their observers were watching on during Skywatcher's Sierra Blanca operation, and they made a major discovery during Skywatcher's psionic summoning and dog whistle operations during 2025. At exactly the same time that Skywatcher was doing its operations at Sierra Blanca, 200 miles to the northwest, UAP swarms suddenly began appearing in great numbers over the White Sands missile range to the northwest of El Paso.
Now, if you remember, Skywatcher was experimenting with what's become known as the dog whistle, this electromechanical signaling that they say can attract or at least interact with these objects. James Fowler, who was heavily involved with that technology, he left Skywatcher last year for what's described as a new opportunity in aerial intelligence connected with the government. Now, Ross is claiming that the US government may have essentially taken this whole operation and brought it in-house.
There is a full-on effort underway by the administration to recover suspected non-human intelligence exotic technology in a program totally separate from the so-called legacy program. This is an attempt by the president to circumvent the legacy program. It's been run out of the White House by the president's most senior intelligence advisors. President Trump has tasked the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to find out what these objects are and to capture them.
Okay, that's an extraordinary claim. But here's where this gets even more interesting, because according to Ross's sources, and we're trusting that his sources are legit, he's reporting that these UAP are demonstrating many of the observables, like stealthing, extraordinary speeds, no sign of visible propulsion, etc. Now, obviously, we don't have the underlying evidence to independently verify these claims, but Ross mentions another possibility. Some of these objects could potentially be extremely advanced Chinese technology, but it raises some fascinating questions. What happened to Skywatcher? What exactly is the US government trying to shoot down and recover? And if any of these objects really are Chinese technology, what has China developed?
I mean, UAP swarms? That sounds pretty serious. And honestly, it would not surprise me if this is some kind of human-made technology that we're just trying not to call out who it is exactly, but now we have someone just saying, hey, yeah, this is probably some Chinese tech. Which, I mean, it could very well be. It honestly could very well be our own tech, and we're just not telling people what it is exactly, and we're just pointing fingers now. I do believe that a lot of these UAPs are more man-made than extraterrestrial or interdimensional. Some may be very well plasmoid, but that's still up in the air for me, but a lot of this I do believe to be man-made. Let me know your thoughts and opinions.
The moon is being used as a base by non-human civilizations. That is the conclusion of scientists who just published footage of more than 20 unidentified objects racing across the lunar surface. And they say these objects can reach Earth in 20 minutes. Astronomers at Ukraine's main astronomical observatory recorded the objects in August and September of 2025 using high-speed telescopes. Some objects are up to 25 miles wide and traveling at nearly 25,000 miles per hour. They claim there are two types of craft, some holding stationary positions near the surface, and others are racing across it at 4.1 miles per second. Two objects hundreds of miles apart, flashing in synchronized pulses, and when they reach Earth, the researchers say they show up as UAPs in our atmosphere. The paper hasn't been peer-reviewed and no raw footage has been released publicly, and Ukraine's own National Academy of Sciences has previously flagged this same team of methodology errors. It's worth noting that the Artemis 2 mission flew to within 4,000 miles of the lunar surface just months after these objects were recorded. During a near hour-long communications blackout on the far side, the crew reported strange visual anomalies on the moon's surface. NASA has not released what those observations contain.
Man, I don't know about this one. It kind of makes me think, what if we already have scientists and people up there near the moon and they're just doing research and they're telling us that, hey, there's these objects by the moon, just in case someone has like one of those P1000s and they see some kind of anomaly and they're like, oh, aliens, but in reality, it's actually some kind of astronaut or some kind of scientist just orbiting the moon doing work. It could be one of those situations, which is probably pretty doubtful. Or it could just be some kind of anomaly that we really don't have any explanation for. It was just some passing debris, maybe. Maybe scientists just don't know every single thing that they're talking about, and everything's just a really educated guess. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I would think that if you're going to invest money in space travel and research, this is the kind of stuff that your money would be going towards. Why not have some kind of device that can record video and or observe things just a bit closer than what we currently can, to where we don't need to use certain levels of magnification? And it just boggles my mind that we have some kind of information about the deepest parts of space where they're so sure that there's this planet that rains diamonds, but you cannot tell me what these things are that were near the moon. That just, to me, doesn't make much sense. But as I always say, that's why I'm not a rocket scientist or anyone of any kind of significance. Just a dude sitting behind a camera. But I would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this, because I cannot be the only one that thinks that, right? Hey, if you're new here, I would like to welcome you to the channel. My name is Dominic, and I make videos like this Monday through Friday, early in the morning. So if this is the kind of content that you enjoy watching, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And for everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Now let's get back into it.
So let's dive into case file 1 of AI, shall we? Which is the biblical interpretation of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, from a religious or biblical sense, is the technology that could bring on something known as the Great Deception. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Bank chips. If you don't carry the number of the beast, you will not be able to buy anything or sell anything. And then in this piece of scripture from Revelations, it's talking about the second beast creating an image that will be given breath. Now, from where I'm interpreting this, it's talking about AI-generated imagery. Back in the day, if somebody wanted to persuade people, they had to do it through mainstream media. They had to do it through television. Artificial intelligence can attack the truth from both sides. And that's dangerous. You know what I mean? It could make the false appear real while also making what's real appear to be fake. Like literally, once synthetic evidence becomes normal, a genuine event or a confession or a testimony or a miracle can all be dismissed as generated content once it gets to a position where it is good enough that us as humans cannot depict the difference. Imagine if society got to a point where we couldn't actually agree on what was real and what was fake.
This is a bit of a concern of mine as well, at least currently where it stands. If you see something that's AI generated, or if you're not sure if it's AI generated, or if you're looking at misinformation, you do have the ability to do research, but that's only going to last for so long until corporate elites start changing the policies of what you're able to read online, and or even what's approved to be online. Eventually it will get filtered out to where the story that the elites or the top shelf pieces of trash will be the end all be all story facts that's given. And that's the scary part of the future. Right now it's not there. You can do research. There is proper articles. There is ways to at least verify if something's true or not. At least in the sense of something being political, or if someone said something, there is more verifiable evidence of finding that out through research, more or less than maybe trying to debunk a Bigfoot sighting or an alien sighting. And as far as this form of technology being a part of the mark of the beast, I'm not quite there with that theory yet. Mainly because I do not see how it forces the mark upon your right hand or forehead. I mean, someone could go out of their way to have that done, but from my understanding, the mark of the beast is pressured upon someone's right hand or forehead, and AI is just not doing that. Now, could this form of technology lead into something that could eventually do that to where people are forced or pressured to receive this mark? Maybe. But what would that force be, and what would it look like in today's age? And I also do not think that the microchips in your hand would be a part of the mark of the beast either, because you can select which hand you want the chip installed in. Now, if it was a rule that it could only be in the right hand, okay, now there's something up.
Okay, guys, I'm going to show you some footage. And look, this stuff, people send this stuff to me, and I'm like, hey, let's just give it a shot, and see what others think. A while back, before AI kicked off and it did its thing, like it's doing now, we see in every video, everything is AI generated. There were these TV shows, there were these news broadcasts and things where people, and a lot of people just think they thought it was a satellite and it was glitches, but some people really believe that it was people being unveiled and it was their true colors showing. Check this out. Now, I do not know who this is, and no information on it was given to me, so maybe some of you have seen it before, and I'm sure it's older anyway, and you can give me a description of who you think it is, but it kind of favors Tom Brady a little bit. I don't know for sure, but just as you can see, I'm not going to say the word. It looks like one of those people. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's not much to talk about. I mean, I've just got this little footage here, and so I'll leave it up to you guys as always to, you can tell me what are your thoughts on this. Do you think it's really something to it, or it's just satellite glitches or anything like that?
It's been a long time since I've watched actual television or the news, but I remember when I actually watched TV quite a bit, TV distortions like that would happen all the time, and it would make me wonder, why just that specific person? What triggered this distortion to cause that to them only? It is actually something that I've questioned quite a bit, especially when I was much younger, because it's so odd that it does happen to specific people more than just random people. Actually, when I was much younger, I used to watch NASCAR, and there was this one driver that the camera would always distort when it would show his face, and his name was Casey Kane. For some reason, on live broadcast, whenever they would show his face on camera, his jaws, his eye, everything on his face would start freaking out, and it would only be on his face. I've never understood that. It's definitely a weird effect, and it does make me question if maybe they are something in disguise, and video equipment just can't handle that form of tech.
Scientists are giving robots biological bodies, biological brains, and the ability to eat biological matter. You may ask, why would anyone want to do that? And that is a good question. It all started with EcoBot. This was one of the first robots that was capable of consuming biological matter, and it's been applied to things like pests. There's versions of it that can eat things like flies and slugs, and there's even been the proposal for mice. This is a form of robot that can convert biological matter into fuel to run the robot. Yes, a predatory robot is a little bit disconcerting. Now, when it comes to making robots that are made out of biological matter, often lab-grown tissues, well, that has progressed a lot. It's been done for around the last decade. There are reasons why you would want to do this. It provides a test subject that is not an actual person in research. Granted, researchers have also been trying to perfect locomotion in these kinds of robots, so it gets a little bit weird. But if you have biological matter, why not give it a brain? In fact, researchers have run into exactly that issue. Yes, you can build a robot using human muscle tissue, in this case made of cardiac tissue, and you can operate it. But unless it has a brain to operate those muscles, as it should in a body, it doesn't work very effectively. And this is the concept behind their robot. It uses cardiac tissue, and it has 2 wings that can be operated independently using an onboard computer that mimics the brain, and they've even thought that it could be applied to undersea exploration. I mean, to be clear, there probably are much easier ways to make a submersible robot. I mean, you can make cyborg pigeons, you can make cyborg fish. I don't know why you want to go to the lengths of using human cardiac tissue, but it is an option. Some researchers wanted to take this quite a bit farther and see if they can create a mind for the robot, teach it to walk, and see if it will remember to walk. In order to do this, first they have to make the bones for the robot, the scaffolding, and then from there they can move muscle tissue into it and allow that to grow. But something still has to operate it, so they have to add neural tissue. That neural tissue is also going to need to grow throughout the muscle and innervate so it can operate it. And yes, not only did it learn how to walk within the robot's body, but it remembered how to walk over the course of 2 weeks. However, it did not stay alive very long because, that is brain tissue that is outside of a body. So it's missing some crucial things like an immune system and skin. Join me next time and we'll talk about taking this farther.
These scientists are straight up diabolical. There's no reason why we have a brain-based robot that grows its muscles, learns to walk, and just dies in 2 weeks because it was an experiment. That's sad. And it also makes me believe that in the future, we're going to have vampire robots that are feasting upon people. They're literally going to be vampire-like robots. Dracula 2.0, the robot version. Once AI develops this biotech that it needs to consume proteins to energize itself, well, it's game over. Now the world really is screwed because the robots will be hunting people.
Why is SpaceX erecting a statue of Lucifer, yeah, the devil, Satan, the adversary, in their starbase? Because they always have to tell you. Elon has already told you guys who he really is, and we've talked about what SpaceX is really for, but we'll do it again in 1 minute. So they are actually putting a 50-foot statue of Prometheus inside of the starbase in Texas. But don't you know the history with the Greek gods and Titans and Prometheus? Well, Prometheus was said to steal the fire of the gods, Zeus and all of them, and give it to mankind. In doing so, it gave them knowledge, technology. Just like Satan, tricking Adam and Eve to have the forbidden fruit for this knowledge. And the book of Enoch talks about the fallen angels coming down and giving all this technology to mankind. It gets crazier though, because Zeus, being angry about all this that Prometheus did, he chained him to a giant rock. Take a look at the Statue of Liberty. And we already know that one shackle is broken off the foot of Lucifer in the Statue of Liberty. And think about it. Liberty. Liberty to do what? Liberty to be away from God. Liberty to sin, to be evil. That's what it's all about. Much like the Babylon working in the Moonchild ritual, where they summon the spirit of Apollo into a living baby under a lunar eclipse. And that he would lead by cause of liberty and destroy the Black Brotherhood, and the demons specified that it was Christianity. This picture behind me shows through generations, of course, the light bear, the fire bear. Let's jump to Elon real quick, then we'll jump back to SpaceX. So he talks about how he's been around for 3,000 years, a vampire, and just trialing his identity through the centuries and millennia. He also said once that his birth date was 4000 BCE, making it almost identical right around the time that these angels fell. Now, I've been telling y'all for actual years, don't we know what SpaceX is really for? SpaceX was created to cover up the track of what's happening in the heavens and to block out the paths of the fallen angels and normal angels as well. That's why every single time we see this crazy stuff happening in the sky, now they always say it's SpaceX, even though things like the Norwegian spiral happened well before SpaceX. They want you to be oblivious that a heavenly war is actually coming very soon. I'm telling you, everything we know, all history, is a complete fabrication.
I always thought it was pronounced Prometheus. I've never heard it pronounced Prometheus before. But that is a really funny one if you're trying to make a joke for like a meth head or something. Which, I guess that's not really funny to joke about, but I'll keep it in my book of jokes anyways. And to be fair, Elon Musk is not having this sculpture built himself. A French academy or something of the sort is actually doing it on their own free will, just as a donated gift. At least that's what I can find out here online. I mean, take that for what you will. I mean, is the symbolism a little odd? Yes. But I don't think it's necessarily hurting anything, if we're just following the Greek mythology of it all. I'd be actually really curious to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, so please let me know in the comments.
Yeah, they're already walking among us. At least that's what theorists and alleged whistleblowers claim is happening through an above top secret operation known as the Alien Human Hybrid Program. According to the theory, alien abductions aren't these random encounters or simple examinations. They're part of a long-term genetic program designed to create beings that are part human and part something else. For decades, experiencers have reported things like missing time, invasive procedures, reproductive experiments, and mysterious pregnancies that vanish after an abduction event. Some even claim that they were later introduced to strange children who looked mostly human and were told that those children were actually their offspring. Researchers like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, and David Jacobs have documented hundreds of these cases over the years. Their conclusions remain controversial, but they raised one disturbing question. If this is happening, what's the agenda? Some believe it could be a silent invasion, while others think humanity's being genetically upgraded or that another intelligence is using our DNA to save their own species. But if hybrids are already living among us, how would we even know? Online hybrid lore claims there may be signs, like never breaking a bone, or surviving an accident that should have injured you or worse, healing unusually fast, or constantly experiencing electrical disturbances like flickering lights, batteries dying that were charged, or getting a lot of static shocks. Of course, none of that proves that someone carries non-human DNA, but here's where it gets a little bit stranger. Earlier this year, former Congressman Matt Gaetz claimed that an Army source told him about secret facilities where human and non-human DNA were being allegedly engineered to create hybrids. And we even have Tim Burchett and Eric Burleson who have also discussed similar, though unverified, claims. Then came the recent story that the CIA had secretly been accessing databases from 23andMe and Ancestry to search for non-human genetic markers, to track hybrid bloodlines and locate people who may not even know what they truly are. Now, the question is, if a DNA test could tell you that you weren't entirely human, would you even want to know?
If there was a DNA test out there that could tell you if you were not entirely human, yeah, I would like to know. The question is could you actually trust it? And also, these human hybrids, if they are real, kind of makes me wonder, the people that have those malfunctions with their face when they're on camera, what if that's because they are alien hybrids or they're some kind of human hybrid of some sort? And that's just their physical appearance actually bleeding through the camera. It's an interesting theory. I'm not saying I believe it, but it's one to think about.
Do not buy a single avocado oil product again until you see this video and the study that just came out from UC Davis. And all I can say is this: I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. 100% pure. Check this out. So UC Davis, turns out avocado oil chips may not be made with pure avocado oil. 89% of the avocado oil labeled processed foods tested to contain other oils. Most people are going to avocado oil because they're trying to avoid, freaking canola oil and other seed oils. Well, they're still getting them, and it's in the supply, man. Avocado oil mayo. This is one of the biggest unfortunate schemes out there, man. Usually you buy Hellman's mayo, it's got seed oils out the yin yang. You're trying to go for something a bit more healthy, a bit more organic. Well, even though it says 100% pure avocado oil on the Chosen Foods mayo, it's not. It failed the purity test by UC Davis. And so did Primal Kitchen and Sir Kensington's. By the way, it's super easy to make your own homemade mayo with an immersion blender. Google that and you'll never buy mayo in a freaking can or a tub or jar ever again. Next, one of the worst is the avocado oil dressings. All the ones that UC Davis tested came back positive for other oils. And we're not talking the secret other oil is actually organic olive oil. It's like we're talking seed oil. And then Siete brand and Kettle brand avocado oil chips contained other oils as well, not just avocado oil. Now, the crazy part is, didn't Siete just get bought out? I wonder if they had real avocado oil in the beginning, but they just got bought out, and if then now things change. Anyways, keep your head on a swivel. I recommend using more butter, beef tallow from a farm that you actually know. Making your own chips, like chips, man, it's a processed food. You don't know what's going on in that factory. And again, mayo is the easiest thing in the world to make by yourself with a immersion blender and a couple ingredients, and then there's no guesswork as to what's in it.
Well, that's good to know. I've personally never been an avocado oil user. I'm normally a butter or lard type of person. That's just me. I have nothing against avocado oil. I just have better results with using lard personally. And now I'm actually really curious because my last video I had a question as to what team are you on when it comes to sodas if you were to drink a soda? Pepsi or Coca-Cola? A lot of people actually were on Team Pepsi, which kind of surprised me. But now watching this, I'm curious if any one of you out there eat mayonnaise or use mayonnaise, what is your preferred mayonnaise brand? I am a Duke's user. Let me know in the comments. That'll be a fun one.
I want to know about the Los Angeles City Hall building. Come with me while I take a journey through the streets of Los Angeles on a super hot day to go see City Hall. It may or may not include an iced matcha later. Los Angeles City Hall was built in 2 short years, from 1926 to 1928, and it was right before the Great Depression, which, if you know me, that's my other Rome. Austin, Parkinson, and Martin were the architects for this beautiful Art Deco structure that has a lot of hidden references built into it, like the top of the building, which is meant to resemble the mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Interesting. This building is 434 feet tall, roughly 32 stories, and it's 800,000 square feet. And I guarantee you there's some imported marble and granite in this bad boy. I'm on the side of the building trying to get to the front. This thing just keeps going. Did I mention it's hot in LA today? Some beautiful Art Deco ceiling details. So I just went inside and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get some details. It's closed until further notice because of an incident last month. Apparently there was a jumper and that's all they said. Sorry to hear that, but nobody can go in and see the building. See, they've got all the entrances blocked off with this fence here because of the incident. This building doesn't stop though. It's freaking huge. So many sirens today, but we have City Hall behind me, and then diagonal across the street, we have this bad boy, which also kind of looks like Mausoleum of Halicarnassus with the columns and the stacking. But don't get me started on the previous City Hall that was here in Los Angeles before this one went up, because that thing was a beauty as well and didn't need to be demolished. I wanted to know what this building was. It's the Hall of Justice. Unfortunately, more blockades because I'm assuming whatever happened over at City Hall trickled over here. Look at these columns up top. Okay, the Hall of Justice in LA, they started building in 1924, and guess what? It was finished in 1925. Boom! They're just working harder back then. No cell phones to keep them distracted. This building is in the upwards of 550,000 square feet. That's a lot of elbow grease. The interesting thing is it lists it on Wikipedia as 330,000 to 550,000 square feet, which makes me wonder if that square footage adds up to how deep it goes and if the underground tunnels go over and connect to City Hall, which is across the street. I don't even think I want to know. I think I just know. There's an observation deck at the top of the City Hall. I am so sad I can't go in here because this is glorious. Look at this entry. These beautiful columns, the massive, massive height of this thing. Another interesting thing is this building was made with sand from all of California's 58 counties. That concrete was mixed with the water from all of the 21 missions in California to make this building. What the hell are you guys doing? Where are you getting the time to go get this stuff? But what I really want to know, between 1998 and 2001, they spent $299 million to retrofit City Hall to be able to withstand an 8.2 magnitude earthquake. That makes this the tallest base isolated structure in the world to undergo a retrofit like that. Very nice. I like the retrofit to protect it from earthquakes, especially in 8.2 magnitude. What's in this building that's so important that it needs to be protected from an 8.2 magnitude earthquake? Because I bet there's some good stuff in there. I don't know, but I want to know. But what I really want to know is who on that list is going to jail first in America.
That is pretty impressive, and I'm almost certain that there's got to be a hidden tunnel that connects those two buildings and probably other buildings in the surrounding area. And also, for them to upgrade it to withstand such a large earthquake, why is that not a mandatory thing for most of the homes in California near LA specifically because of the earthquakes? That should be like a mandatory thing that's done for people's homes in general. It does make me wonder what could be in this building that's so precious that they invest so much money to keep it up during an earthquake. I mean, at that point, just do the whole city. But overall, really cool stuff.
So as many of you have already seen, the military has released new UFO UAP files, and one pilot even came forward stating that he saw a huge triangular UFO that even blocked out the stars and the moon. Well, what if extraterrestrials or unidentified beings, things are already here on the ground? Take a look at this video that was captured around August 8th, 2026 by a witness who states an unidentified creature was watching her in her backyard. But the thing is, we have no idea what it is. We can't identify it. It's weird. Take a look at the video, comment below, let us know what you think. So what do you think? Is this unidentified? Is this alien? Or is it maybe something else? We just can't tell what it is and our mind is playing tricks on us. Watch it again, be sure to comment, and let us know your thoughts.
Hey, whoever's filming this must have really good spidey senses, because who would have thought to look that far off into a bush to see eyes staring back at you? Either that or they had that song playing in the back of their head where they had a feeling somebody was watching them. If that was a predator, I would have been got.
There was another massive earthquake today. A devastating earthquake. This time in Colombia. And this was really big. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Yeah, that's huge. Hit Colombia in this area today, this morning. It was felt in Medellin, Bogota, Cali, and in other countries near Colombia. Buildings, tall buildings have collapsed there in Colombia. There are different reports of what the loss of life is already. But the early numbers, and it takes a long time to figure this out because of the devastation, put it at least 111 lives lost. Now this earthquake in Colombia was once again on the Ring of Fire, where there have been multiple earthquakes, at least a couple a week for the past few years. The Ring of Fire is a group of dormant and active volcanoes that start in South America, go all the way up through North America, all the way through Russia, Asia, China, and Japan, down into Australia. And like I said, there have been earthquakes, not small ones, a couple times a week at least on the Ring of Fire for 2+ years. And today in Colombia, just like the one in Venezuela a couple weeks ago, this was incredibly devastating.
For everyone that's suffering from these devastating earthquakes, I hope everything works out well for you, and I'm really sorry for your loss if you've lost anyone during these hard times.
What?
Mysterious illness? This is the video that'll change your life. For years now, I've had worsening chronic brain fog, as well as really lightheaded and just really zoned out. Not just me, but my wife as well. And although certain things do make it worse, like the Schumann frequency or the air quality outside, if you or your family relate, then this right here is the video that you've been looking for. But first, let me preface this entire thing by saying, I'm not making any medical claims, any diagnosis, nothing like that. I'm just telling you about me and my life and what helped my life.
South Africa.
I'll explain this in a minute, but a few years ago, we started getting all foggy-headed, zoned out, all sorts of stuff, feeling really fatigued, all for no reason. Looking back, now I found out it happened when we went from the Note 20 Ultra to the S22 Ultra. But the S22 Ultra, unlike the Note 20 Ultra, actually did use where Note 20 claimed they did, but they didn't have an antenna for it. Follow me, let's get deeper. But while annoying, it was manageable. And then we moved and we upgraded our Wi-Fi and we got these new phones, the 25 Ultra. Y'all see that? What?
What?
But we didn't think about this yet because we had moved in and we noticed all of a sudden we were way more foggy headed than before. And this is on 4G. It's on 4G. Went up to 300. The Wi-Fi you just saw, the 6 Wi-Fi, went up to 1,000. So we made a change and all of a sudden we've been feeling great, and I've slept 5 days in a row with not one single problem. Let me show you how to do that. First, only connect to Wi-Fi when you actually need Wi-Fi so it's not pulling it in your room where you sleep. There's a mighty big difference between like 100 megabytes per second and a gigabyte per second. So first, open your phone settings, and then you're going to go to the connections. It's very similar, should be on the iPhone. Then you're going to go to mobile networks right here. Allow something service. No, say no, no way, and it will automatically stay on 4. Look, unless you're uploading high quality stream, this is for 100 megabytes per second is plenty. For the most part, it'll even run your shows on your phone in 4K. And ever since I stopped using this and turned it from 5 to 4, I've had no problems and I have all the data I need. I couldn't turn this all the way off because of security cams, much like maybe you, but you can log into your IP from your router and you can turn it down from 6 or 5 to 2.4. Way better for it. way better in general. This will make a major difference in you and your family's lives.
I will have to say, as someone that runs quite a bit of tech through my house, with security cameras and Wi-Fi to operate gaming consoles and all that, turning your Wi-Fi and cellular data off before you go to bed, and or in general if you're not using it, actually does make you feel better. I know that sounds really crazy, but I'm telling you, if you have the ability to turn your cellular data off and you're not worried about random phone calls or text messages coming in through the middle of the night, turn your data off and turn your Wi-Fi off, and you will wake up with a less foggy head. It does seem to work for me at least, and it does seem to work for my wife as well. Turning the Wi-Fi off in your home when you're not using it is also a really good idea. If you're not running your TV or anything that requires you to use Wi-Fi, don't even have it connected until you're ready to use it. There's no point in having all that signal transmitted through your body. I do think that Wi-Fi and cellular data is messing up your head, and more than likely your whole body in some ways. But your brain is the one that's heavily affected by it the most, I do believe. Please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on this, or if you agree, disagree, and or if you even have any recommendations as to how to disconnect from Wi-Fi more safely during nighttime or just in general.
I feel happy. I feel healthy. I'm a human being.
Same here, man. Same here. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. As usual, I feel happy. I feel healthy. I'm doing my best. And if today's your birthday, happy birthday. And if not, have a good day anyways.